Damn,
Let's
Missy
roll.
Mari got beat.
How many problems you got? A lot. That's gonna be the name of this video, coming at you right now live, or rather not live, but coming at you live. Scorpio Moon 18, Darrell King. Once again, we gonna drop some knowledge on you. How many problems you got? A lot. Let's get right into it. Alright. First of all, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for, giving me a lot of love on the channel. Even though I'm first starting out and everything, I appreciate you in advance. That's how the higher self goes. That's how, thoughts become reality. And I put on a little bit of 21 Savage featuring J. Cole, A Lot. Now, being as though, to the youngins, like, my sons and daughters' age, my stepkids' age, I'm an old head. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't get so much into the trap music or whatever, but, I pull knowledge from all places. And so basically, what I want to say today is that, you may have, we're going to go ahead and work that, how that from. Yeah, I like that right there. That's beating just like I like it. That's what I want. Okay, so basically, I always say these are the Fantastic Four. Number one, your mind. Number two, your body. Number three, your spirit or soul or your consciousness. And number four, your money, purse, bank, wow, Skrilla, the bag, whatever you want to call it. If you control those four things in your life, you will be absolutely invincible. Bring this up a little closer, so all right, be like that, right there, right there. Okay, let's talk about it. Problems. Do we have a lot of problems? Or are we made to think we have a lot of problems? All right. So, your mind is a terrible thing to waste. Remember that old commercial? Those of you all who are, Gen X's, you remember back in the 70s when we were small kids, it was a NAACP commercial, and one of the things they said to melanated youth is that, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Okay, so why did they say that? That's very important. But let's go deeper today. Okay, if you basically pretty much are not in control of the narrative and of your life and everything that surrounds your life, you really actually are being led by the hand, whether you know it or not, by someone else's rules, regulations, thoughts, concepts, loves, hates, all that. They are not yours, right? So how does this happen? How am I aware of this? How are you aware of this? Okay, number one, the tele-lie vision. We got to talk about it, because the tele-lie vision is a tool of mental manipulation and also a tool of social engineering. This is why we have developed our earliest thoughts, other than our parents who often got their knowledge from the tele-lie vision, as well as further generations, the radio or whatever. But the mind fuck is so heavy that it formed our beliefs, it formed our loves, it formed our hates, it formed a lot of things that we thought actually was coming from us, whether it was racial belief or the thoughts about certain races, or whether we like them or not, or religions, or people from other parts of the world, how we view them, certain social norms and social things that was going on and whatnot. You know, all those things actually were formed. All those things were actually formed long before we were born, and our parents fell victim to this, and their parents before them fell victim to this, and so on and so forth. Which is this is just the way that the matrix has been set up in order to guarantee complete control. So we were taught in school, which we understand now that there's nothing wrong with school, don't get me wrong, and education. And for all the educators out there that's truly out here, basically making sure, excuse me one second, guys. Back, had to open up that window a little bit. That's some cool breeze, some air in here, you know what I'm saying, bring that good energy. But again, to all my educators who truly are out there educating kids, keep doing you. We love you. We encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. But it's not the educators. It is the system of education that have educated us, basically have socially engineered us, because almost 90%, if not 100% of everything we've been taught is a lie. And you can do research on many things. And we're going to get into many things, but that's for another video and another time, because we don't have that type of, we're not having that type of discussion or focus right here, right now. Pinpointing. We're just going over the overall structure. So, school, other than mathematics, I want you to think about this, other than arithmetic and mathematics, which I was horrible with when, I was very young. I was just, I was more right-brained, art, imagination, being as though I'm a sun sign Pisces. So I was really into that more so, and moon and Scorpio as well, being water signs, the emotions. However, one thing I can definitely say is that other than math, which you need math in order to handle your everyday life. You can't work on your finances without the knowledge of mathematics and how mathematics works, like numbers, compound interest and all that, which is also another video in our series that we're going to have at another time. But anyway, what else is really important? I mean, okay, exercise, sports, that was important for your body. Everything you really learn, you could have learned at home. Your parents could teach you. I mean, example of that is just think of some of the things that you learned and had to study for and everything, and you were taught that really actually doesn't have an impact in your life at all. But right now, I mean, it's like, why did I learn this? Whether it was like some type of physical science about rocks. It's good to have that information, but it didn't do you any good when you got out here in the work world, the corporate America world. It did you no good. Okay, so it was empty knowledge, stuff that you could have learned on your own. Your parents could have taught you, or anyone like that, or whatever. Or even if you never knew it, it still would not make a difference to where you are in your life now, because you're still a part of, the corporate plantation, corporate America. Right now you're working. Those of us that work, still working, that don't have like their own entrepreneurial pursuits or that passive income coming in every month that allows you to live your best life. However, most of what we've taught is a lie. Let's look at his story. There's a number of things that we were taught in history that's a goddamn lie. We realize that it was a lie, a straight out lie, or things were covered up. One of the things I have to say, like I said, when it comes to presidents and politics, or politricks as I say it, I don't really get into it. I don't get into it. I could care less. I know that doesn't have any bearing. It has minimal bearing on me or what I do in my life, as a sovereign citizen, as a an entrepreneur, as a businessman, me and my wife as a business entity together. You know, we are in control of our own destiny, and so well should you be. I'm not saying that certain people, you know, shouldn't be given respect for their position. But the larger you go, always remember this. I don't care what it is in life, especially here in this matrix, this United States of America. I don't care if it's you selling lemonade. I got a lemonade stand on the side of the road, or if you're a huge corporation like the National Football League, NFL, you know, NBA, sports, which, you know, I was a huge sports fan. I mean, my team, the Detroit Lions, ain't never won a Super Bowl or been there, whatever. But still, nonetheless, I was a huge sport fan. I still watch sports now, but I watch it more responsibly, and I have, you know, my third eye is open to it. In the lie we've been taught, I realize that's nothing but entertainment as well, bread and circuses like ancient Rome. But every time something gets higher and higher in the corporate America takes value in it, it becomes more and more as a pretty packaged box that is really a moneymaker, it might be, but it becomes less and less real, less and less original. Okay, let's say that, you know, and it affects everything. And the narrative you've been told about John F. Kennedy, that's why I mentioned politics. Hey, that one man shot him. We all by now know that that's a goddamn lie. That didn't no one man shoot that man, a sitting president of the United States, on November the 22nd, 1963, in the streets of Dallas. No one man shot that man, okay? But they still tell us like we dumb that this actually occurred. You know what I'm saying? When, you know, the request for the papers to be released, it won't be released until, I think, Caroline Kennedy dies, or like decades from now, when it doesn't matter to a future generation, then they'll be released and they'll tell you the truth, you know, for why John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated. You know, they tell us about 9/11. That's supposed to be, you know, oh yeah, just, you know, some guys in a cave with all kinds of technology you know, they pretty much took over two airlines and crashed them into the Twin Towers, and 10 Twin Towers came down, and that's the fault of bin Laden and these guys in the desert thousands of miles away. Bullshit. Most of us know that's bullshit. But anyway, I digress. Problems a lot. Why did I say that? Because when you believe, when you listen to the tell-a-lie vision, when you really follow the mass mainstream media, the news and everything, and you listen and hang on every word that they say, believe me, you're gonna have problems in every area of your life. Because number one, they control the narrative of your life, and realize that your thoughts and your words are things. They are living being entities. They actually become reality if you speak it and say it enough. So with that said, you know, start to, you know, read books just as much, if not more, than you get on more. Let's be more than you get on social media. I'm not saying, I know we living in 2019. I know social media is very important. I utilize social media as well. We can't get away from it. It's the new. It is what it is. Okay, it's the new television. What's the new technology that television was when it first came out in the late 1940s, throughout the 50s and 60s, on to today. It is impactful of a technology, more so than radio was during the World War II and pre-World War II era. You know, for that those generations, or that generation. And so on and so forth. You know, maybe is impactful, or just as impactful as telegrams were for the turn of the century generation, the generation of the late 1800s, early 1900s. Okay. However, you have to be in control of yourself at all times, on all four of the levels that I told you: your mind, your body, your soul, and your purse, money. You have to be in control at all times. You have to be the leader. You have to be the king, the queen, the controller, the director of your life through your active input, so that you can get the best out of life, so you can live your best life. That's real talk. If you sit up here and you let the tell-a-lie vision, social media, what people think about you, a job, a corporate job here in America run you and dominate you, you're not in control of your life. You are just like a twig, a leaf blowing in the wind, hither and there. Okay? However, when you take control and you become an active participant in your own life, and you start having visions, you start planning and setting goals for yourself, setting educational goals, learning new skills, going after something you really want to do, thinking positive thoughts, being around positive people, reading books, positive books that help uplift you. Because all the news does is talk about all kinds of stuff, all kinds of negative things that are going to bring you down to a lower vibration. Fuckery, okay? Wars, death, murder, violence, rape. Then they hit you with, disease. Then they hit you with, crazy commercials about pharmaceutical drugs for depression that has a laundry list of side effects right after they show you the news. The only thing I told you about that news that you really should be concerned with is the weather. Your own local news. That's the only thing that's going to impact you like right away. Now, your local news, I give that a little more leeway. Not much, but a little bit more, because all news basically is no good news. All mass media news, especially the larger cities living, like I live in Atlanta right now, ATL. So the news stations and the mass media news is going to be much more intense. New York or DC or Baltimore or something like that, rather than like a little small little town somewhere in anywhere USA. Okay, but nonetheless, the weather is about all you need to know. Maybe if anything going around that might directly impact you as far as traffic, or maybe some crimes that might happen in close around. But all that world news stuff, that stuff, what are you going to do? They show you all this stuff. What are you going to do about it? I mean, you're going to protest about it. What are you going to do? And why do they constantly just totally bum rush you with all this negative news constantly all the time? They just overwhelm you with it. Why? You know why they do that? They do that so they can keep you in a state of constant fear. Remember what fear is the acronym for. False evidence appearing real. You have to accept it. You have to be the one to, embrace it. And once you do it, you're done. You're done. What did they said President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, another politics phrase, but I have to give a shout out to FDR for this one statement. He said the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. What does that mean? The shit ain't real if you don't make it real. I'm not saying that bad things don't happen. I'm not saying crimes don't occur. I'm not saying wars and countries don't fight or get angry with each other. All those things happen. But there are also wonderful things happening all the time, all around the planet. But that is not part of the narrative or agenda. So it doesn't get any airplay. Okay? And in your own world, your thoughts create your reality around you. Real talk. So when you start to change your mind, the things that you feed your mind is very important. Just as important as the thing you feed your belly. Feeding your mind is very, very important. So you have to feed your mind positivity at all times. And watch your world around you begin to change. That's the power of positive thought. That's the power of the law of attraction. You attract what you think. I think it was a wise man. I think it was Henry Ford or one of them said, no matter who you think you are, you're right. No matter who you think you are right. Okay? Powerful words to live by. Malcolm said, no matter where you get knowledge from, I don't care what source it comes from. It could come from somebody who you don't really care for or whatever. But if they say some words of wisdom, go ahead and receive that. Malcolm said something, I'm paraphrasing that. In so many words, Malcolm X said, we don't care where we get knowledge from, as long as we don't care about the source that we receive knowledge from, as long as it's knowledge, and we can use that for our success, for our rise. We can use that for our success. That's what wise men and women do. Okay, so they show you with all these problems, but do you really have these problems? Are these your thoughts? Do you really hate these people because you hate them? They did something to you, or somebody told you to hate them? You know, and if your parents or somebody close to you told you to feel this way about a certain group, a certain community, a certain religion, you know, a certain set of doctrines, is that your thoughts, or is that your parents' thoughts? And where did your parents get it from? Who told them? Is it real? You see what I'm saying? You have to determine. You have to use critical thinking, and you have to be able to determine within yourself what is real and what's not, and what is going to be best, and what is going to serve you in your life best. Not outside sources. I don't care where it comes from. Even what I'm telling you, research it. Research what I'm telling you. Don't just accept anything. Research it. When someone comes to you like that, you know they're genuine, they're real. But when you see in a subtle way, like the television, what can you really learn from TV? I mean, like, okay, a television show, you know, my wife and I, you know, my wife likes Big Bang Theory, right? She likes that. That's cool. We watch that. Me, I like Ghost Adventures, you know. But, you know, I do that, but I like it, but you know, I'm not going to watch it constantly, all right? So think, use mind power, critical thinking. Check with you guys tomorrow. Peace out.